The year is 2025. Global tensions are running high, major powers are engaging in an unprecedented arms race. Military budgets are skyrocketing. The specter of conflict looms large. From the Indo-Pacific to Eastern Europe, the world is witnessing a dangerous resurgence of military might. This essay will examine the top 10 countries at the forefront of this concerning trend, analyzing their military preparations and the potential consequences for international security. The world is at a crossroads. The path we choose today will determine the fate of generations to come. Will it be a future defined by dialogue and cooperation, or will it be one marred by conflict and destruction? The answers lie in the choices we make today. The global community must prioritize diplomacy and peaceful resolution. Dialogue, however difficult, is the only way to bridge divides and prevent catastrophic conflict. The alternative is unthinkable. The United States remains the world's undisputed military superpower. With a staggering defense budget of $842 billion, the U.S. dwarfs all other nations in military spending. This financial muscle translates into unparalleled military capabilities, including advanced weaponry, a vast network of military bases, and a highly trained military force. Washington's military strategy is focused on maintaining its global dominance. The U.S. military is actively engaged in multiple regions including Europe, Asia, and the Indo-Pacific. The rise of China and the resurgence of Russia pose significant challenges to U.S. hegemony, prompting the U.S. to strengthen alliances and partnerships around the world. The U.S. is also investing heavily in new technologies, such as hypersonic missiles, artificial intelligence, and cyber warfare capabilities. This technological edge is seen as crucial for maintaining military superiority in the 21st century. However, this relentless pursuit of military dominance comes at a cost. Critics argue that the U.S.'s vast military spending diverts resources from crucial domestic priorities, such as healthcare, education, and infrastructure. China's economic rise has been accompanied by a steady and determined military buildup. With a defense budget of $230 billion, China boasts the world's second-largest military expenditure. Beijing's military modernization program has focused on developing advanced weaponry, including aircraft carriers, stealth fighters, and hypersonic missiles. China's strategic focus is on the Indo-Pacific region, where it seeks to assert its dominance and challenge U.S. hegemony. Taiwan remains a central concern for Beijing, which considers the island to be a breakaway province. China has intensified military activities near Taiwan, raising fears of a potential conflict. China's growing military power has raised concerns among its neighbors and the United States. The potential for miscalculation and escalation in the Indo-Pacific remains high, making it one of the most volatile regions in the world. Despite facing international sanctions and economic challenges, Russia continues to prioritize its military. Moscow's military budget, while significantly smaller than that of the US or China, remains substantial at $16 billion. Russia has focused on modernizing its nuclear arsenal and developing new conventional capabilities. Russia's military intervention in Ukraine has demonstrated its willingness to use force to pursue its geopolitical objectives. Moscow's actions have drawn condemnation from the international community and led to a new Cold War with the West. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine has highlighted the dangers of miscalculation and escalation. The potential for a wider conflict between Russia and NATO remains a real and present danger. Section 5 Ukraine, holding the line of freedom. Since Russia's invasion in 2022, Ukraine has become a battleground in a proxy war between Russia and the West. With a military budget of $48 billion, Ukraine is dedicating a significant portion of its resources to defending its territory and repelling Russian aggression. Ukraine's military strategy has focused on attrition warfare, seeking to inflict heavy losses on Russian forces and bog them down in a protracted conflict. Ukraine has also received significant military aid from Western countries, including advanced weapon systems and intelligence support. Despite facing a numerically superior and better-equipped enemy, Ukraine has managed to mount a spirited defense and inflict heavy losses on Russian forces. The conflict in Ukraine is a stark reminder of the human cost of war and the importance of international support for countries facing aggression. Section 6. India Balancing Act in South Asia. India, with its rapidly growing economy and a population soon to surpass China's, is emerging as a major player on the global stage. New Delhi's military budget has steadily increased in recent years, reaching $73 billion in 2025. India is focused on modernizing its armed forces and acquiring advanced weaponry to address security challenges in its neighborhood. India faces a complex security environment, with long-standing tensions with Pakistan and an increasingly assertive China along its northern border. New Delhi has adopted a policy of strategic autonomy, seeking to balance its relationships with major powers while safeguarding its own interests. India's growing military capabilities have raised concerns in Pakistan and China. The potential for conflict in South Asia remains high, particularly given the long history of mistrust and hostility between India and Pakistan. Section 7. Israel high-tech defense in a volatile region. Israel, facing constant security threats from its neighbors, has long prioritized military preparedness. With a defense budget of $27 billion, Israel dedicates a significant portion of its GDP to maintaining one of the most technologically advanced militaries in the world. Israel's military strategy is focused on deterrence, seeking to deter attacks through overwhelming military superiority and the ability to inflict unacceptable damage on its enemies. Israel has also developed sophisticated missile defense systems, such as Iron Dome, to protect its civilian population from rocket attacks. The ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestinian militant groups, as well as tensions with Iran, highlights the volatile security situation in the Middle East. The potential for a wider conflict in the region remains a constant concern. South Korea, facing a constant threat from its northern neighbor, maintains a high level of military readiness. Seoul's defense budget has steadily increased in recent years, reaching $52 billion in 2025. South Korea is focused on acquiring advanced weaponry and strengthening its alliance with the United States to deter North Korean aggression. North Korea's nuclear and missile programs pose a significant threat to South Korea and its allies. Pyongyang's unpredictable behavior and frequent provocations have raised tensions on the Korean peninsula. The situation on the Korean peninsula remains one of the most dangerous flashpoints in the world. The potential for miscalculation or escalation leading to a devastating conflict is a constant concern for the international community. Section 9. Iran expanding influence through proxies. Despite facing international sanctions and economic pressure, Iran continues to expand its military capabilities and regional influence. Tehran's military budget has increased significantly in recent years, with a focus on developing its ballistic missile program and supporting proxy groups in the region. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, plays a key role in advancing Tehran's regional ambitions. The IRGC has been accused of providing training, funding, and weapons to militant groups in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen. Iran's activities in the Middle East have destabilized the region and fueled sectarian tensions. The potential for a wider conflict between Iran and its regional rivals, including Saudi Arabia and Israel, remains high. Section 10. Turkey assertive power in a contested region. Turkey, under the leadership of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, has adopted an increasingly assertive foreign policy, projecting its military power beyond its borders. Ankara's military budget has skyrocketed in recent years, reaching $28 billion in 2025. Turkey has invested heavily in its drone program, becoming a leading exporter of unmanned aerial vehicles. Turkey's military interventions in Syria, Libya, and Nagorno-Karabakh have demonstrated its willingness to use hard power to advance its interests. Ankara's actions have strained its relations with NATO allies and raised concerns about its regional ambitions. Turkey's assertive foreign policy has heightened tensions in the Eastern Mediterranean and the Middle East. The potential for conflict between Turkey and its neighbors, including Greece and Cyprus, remains a concern for the international community. Section 11. Japan, breaking free from pacifism. Japan, long constrained by its pacifist constitution, has embarked on a significant military buildup in recent years. Faced with growing security challenges in its neighborhood, Tokyo has increased its defense budget to a record $51 billion in 2025. Japan is investing in advanced weaponry, including hypersonic missiles and F-35 fighter jets, to counter threats from China and North Korea. Japan's shift away from pacifism reflects a growing sense of unease about the regional security environment. China's military modernization and assertiveness in the East China Sea, coupled with North Korea's nuclear and missile programs, have prompted Japan to bolster its defenses. Japan's military buildup has raised concerns in China and South Korea, where historical tensions persist. However, Tokyo argues that its actions are purely defensive and necessary to ensure its security in a volatile region. Section 12. The road ahead: diplomacy or disaster? The world in 2025 stands at a crossroads. The escalating military preparations of key world powers have raised the specter of conflict to its highest level in decades. The potential consequences of a major conflict between nuclear-armed states are too horrific to contemplate. Diplomacy and dialogue are the only way to prevent a catastrophic conflict. World leaders must engage in good-faith negotiations to address the root causes of tension and mistrust. International organizations such as the United Nations must play a more active role in promoting peace and security. The alternative is unthinkable. A world consumed by conflict would be a disaster for humanity. The time for action is now. We must choose diplomacy over disaster.